The reason these criminal type loans exist is because the banks and the SBA don't want to lend any money. I see in my YouTube feed lots and lots of videos talking about grants. Yeah, they're out there, but they're very difficult to get, and it's a full-time job. I'm not saying that you shouldn't attempt to apply for a grant. In our experience, because we have applied for grants, they are very difficult to get. So while you're busy running your small business and trying to cope with a pending recession, cope with a challenging employment environment, cope with recovering from COVID and now this BA4 and BA5, which they say is massively more contagious than even Omicron. In order to get yourself approved for a grant, you're basically going to have another full-time job. Because in our experience, that's what it takes. So please don't fall for the people out there telling you, oh, grants, there's $10,000 grants, there's $3,000, there's $100,000 grants. Yeah, they're out there. Absolutely. But they're very difficult to get.
We're not discouraging, but don't be disillusioned when you don't get it quick enough, or you don't get it at all, or you want to be prepared. The grants, and let me just say this as a layperson, because again, financing guy, the disaster grants from 2020, I'm not going to say that it was astounding to hear and to receive the inquiries in early 2022. What about the grant? It's like, that was 2 years ago, and it was a quick infusion of capital because lockdown was real and immediate.
But it's a completely different type of grant.
That was my point.
Right. Okay, so let me help you get there. I think the reason that there's so much traction out there on the internet, on YouTube, on Reddit, et cetera, with people talking about grants, because the average small business owner gotten a COVID-19 grant, or if you're a restaurant, maybe you got a restaurant relief fund grant, and people are confusing that type of grant with the traditional grant. They ain't the same. They're not. That's why we're saying that grants are very difficult to get.
But here is another confirmation to attest to the difficulty. If you know anything about nonprofits hire grant writers. This is how serious it is when you are applying for a grant, and the intensity.
Something popped up in my Google Discover feed the other day, retail chain or some restaurant chain is offering grants to small businesses, which is great. But keep in mind, it's a grant process. Here's the other insidious side that we learned the hard way with the Super Bowl grants. Remember the Super Bowl grants? So at that point, we had, 150 clients, 200 clients. And this grant came out like on a Sunday on the Super Bowl, and you had to apply by like midnight on Tuesday. So we did a marathon of submitting grants. Not one of our clients was approved out of hundreds. But worse, what we came to discover, because we created a special Gmail account for our clients for this purpose. And that Gmail was forwarded to me so that it appears in my auroraconsulting.biz email. So that anytime one of our clients would get that, it would forward automatically and I could see the response. To this day, I got some emails today from the same grant program. All they're interested in doing is putting you on a database, putting you on a legitimate Spam-A-Lot database. So be careful about that too.
That's a really good reminder of when you're committing yourself, just remember, besides the effort that it takes, what's the value of your time?
So RE brought up microloans. A little description and history of microloans. A microloan are small loan amounts, and typically they're funded very often by a not-for-profit organization or a small community-based initiative. They started out actually in India, where people got together to make very small loans to women to start businesses side businesses out of their homes, like textile type businesses. Microloans are still around today. RE, I think it seems to me, it looks like you have received one. Please confirm that if that's the case.
See, look at Ebony. She knows.
$5,000 can't guarantee a grant. Exactly. With the microloans, I'm not saying you should not apply for them, because if you are careful in your screening and you find the right organization, then by all means, you should apply for it. Oh, yes, the Facebook grants.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, we tried that.
I think that's another corporate data mining bullshit. but I don't know. What do I know?
That thing never seemed to happen with Facebook. But anyway, please, we're begging you, stay away from merchant cash advance money. You want to tell them why?
Yeah, I want to tell them why. If you know what MCA/merchant cash advance accounts are, put thanks, no thanks in the comments. So merchant cash advance are the credit card companies that are basically stalking your swipes, and they're going to offer you a deal to get cash fast. Interest rates are exorbitant, but I'm not sure.
Exorbitant is a very kind word.
It's very kind, but the
interest rates are criminal.
That's not even the worst part. You get the money after they take their cut.
You get the money.
No, you get the money, but
then when it comes to paying it back, they get paid before you even get to pay your rent or your payroll. Essentially, whether it's what's called a ledger loan, which means they've used your 12 months or 24 months of your bank statements to determine your cash flow, they approve you based on your cash flow, and then they set up an ACH transfer automatically deducted from your account every month. Whether it's a ledger loan or a credit card terminal loan, which means every time you are swiping your credit card, the lender is taking, whether it's a ledger and direct out of your bank account or the credit cards, they get paid before you see one penny of your own money that you're generated for your business for that month. Chad Eckert, our client, he has done 2 of them. They are horrible. But Chad, as you probably discovered, and this is going back to my earlier discussion about traditional loans, and in fact, the banks don't want to lend unless you're squeaky clean fantastic. The reason these criminal type loans exist is because the banks and the SBA don't want to lend any money. If the banks and the SBA would loosen it up and come to realize that folks like you, Chad, and RE, and Josh Thomas, and the other folks on our show tonight, and the other folks that we've had as clients, if they came to realize that you really are the backbone of the American economy, then they should find a way to step up. And because they don't, that's why these loan sharks, as you put them, exist. And by the way, just so you know, I've seen the guys that do that.
They're preying on the desperation of business owners, but this is where, as a business owner, you come in and temper that FOMO of when people are trying to grow their business and there's an opportunity that presents itself, and that's where the FOMO might come in.
And they need money.
And they need money because you have to really kind of,
but you can't if you have not prepared for it, which is what we have been advocating since 2018 on our YouTube channel,
we have a video
on our blog.